Hey guys, what's up? This is Bharat. You're watching iGyaan and today we're going to be reviewing the new Redmi Y2. So let's quickly get started. Now the Xiaomi Redmi Y2 has been launched in India for a price of 9,999 for the 3GB and 32GB variant, with a larger spec variant available for 12,999. Now at this price the phone offers a pretty good amount of specifications, pretty decent hardware and a great build quality. But is it truly worth the 9,999, and should you be standing in line for another flash sale for the Redmi Y2? Let's find out. So from a build quality perspective, the Redmi Y2 is actually quite well built. You do have an all metal back and 170 gram of total weight, which is just shy of the Redmi Note 5 Pro, which is at 180 grams. The antenna lines are also slightly better designed on the Redmi Y2. The camera layout on the back continues to get a vertical layout and a pretty good camera bump. So if you're using this phone and you don't want to get the camera lens scratched, I would recommend using a case that will give you that extra protection for the camera lens. Also, the case will help you in avoiding the edge of the glass, which is raised from the body of the phone itself on the front. So that is exposed, and that means that if you do drop your phone, the glass may get damaged easily. Xiaomi has not said anything about there being any sort of protecting glass, so there's no Gorilla Glass or no mention of it. So we're not too sure if it is well protected. So I would also recommend that you use a screen protector if you do end up buying this phone. Now Xiaomi did make great claims to this phone getting really good camera setup. So on the back you do have a 12 megapixel plus 5 megapixel setup, and on the front you do have a 16 megapixel setup. But before we get a lot more into the cameras, let's talk about the phone and the performance of it itself. So it does have a Snapdragon 625 chipset, which a lot of people like in this price bracket. Under the 10,000 rupee price bracket, you do get a pretty good processor, and you do get 3GB of RAM and 32GB of storage. Now we do have this variant and not the 4GB plus 64GB variant, and we decided to play some games on this. Now granted, games like PUBG will run on the lowest possible graphics setting. By default you can go and customize this, but if you do run at the lowest possible graphics setting, it will run properly, and we managed to play PUBG without any lag, without any problems whatsoever. We also played Asphalt 8, and that at maximum or high graphics played really well, no frame loss in terms of the gaming aspect of the device. In day-to-day usage, benchmarks from this device are also as expected, so somewhere around the 70,000 in Antutu is what I did expect from this device, and that is exactly what you get. So about 77,000 on Antutu, and similar range benchmark scores for Geekbench as well, so 835 on single core. Now day-to-day usage, because this device is running a pretty good stable version of MIUI 9.5, good, fast, responsive operating system. You do have a whole host of preloaded applications, including some bloatware. I wish you could completely get rid of most of it, but you can delete or uninstall some of these applications. You can disable some of them, but it's not completely clean. You can't really delete all the apps, and that is definitely something that will slow you down. MIUI also brings with it a lot of shortcuts and a lot of gestures, so you can go into your app settings and duplicate apps. That is something that is pretty common. You also have a new dashboard sitting on the left of the home screen that gives you quick access to your contacts, to what's nearby, etc. You also have a new reading mode, more color changing options in the display menu itself, and you also have lots of other tweaks and customizations. But more importantly, you do have now gesture-based navigation, which allows you to remove the bottom Android buttons and then replace it with gesture-based navigation, which if you've used other gesture-based navigations, it's quite identical to that, and it's almost identical to the iPhone 10 or the new iOS style of gesture-based navigations. So if you're deciding to use this phone in day-to-day usage, it turns out to be really good. From what we use this device for, we used it for about a week. We found that the device does not end up lagging or slowing down in our usage. So that is a really good thing. The phone in on itself can handle a good amount of usage, and we got about 5.5 to 6 hours of screen on time. The device does not quick charge as quickly as we would expect. So it only charges with 5 volts and 2 amps, giving it a total of 10 watt of charging capability using the included charger with the Qualcomm Snapdragon 625 chipset on the inside. Now, phone call capability is good, and the speakerphone along with the earpiece is pretty loud, and if you're using the phone on speaker or on a regular call mode, you will thoroughly enjoy the call experience. Microphone is good and noise cancellation is also pretty solid. So as far as phone call capability is concerned, the device is good for that. You do have 2 dedicated slots for SIM cards, which does not compromise on you being able to add in a micro SD card. So that is definitely a good thing. Let's talk about the camera. Xiaomi has expressed a lot of emphasis on the cameras being really good, and the fact that this device does have AI photography, especially on the front-facing camera. And to be quite honest, some of the selfies that I took with the portrait mode on, we get a really good overall result. It can really isolate the corners of the subject which is in the foreground and then give a good background bokeh. It's not as good as what they were showing on their launch screen, definitely. So it does not create that extreme depth scenario in the front as of yet, but still the beginning, and it still turns out to be a really good front-facing camera with the kind of picture capability it has. It also has their advanced beautify mode, which allows you to tweak certain elements of your face. Now again, if this is something that you really need, this phone can do it really well on the front-facing camera. You also have a front-facing LED flash, which will also illuminate in low light environments, so you can get a really good selfie. I would recommend, though, if you're using the front-facing flash, to turn the beautify mode off, because it does give you a super digital and over-sharpened image that you may not like. Images from the main camera or the rear camera are really good. In fact, you get a good amount of color detail, accurate color representation, a good amount of bokeh if you're using the portrait mode, good amount of contrast, light, saturation, all of those things. The camera manages to do it really well, whether it's using the AI functionality or it's just using Qualcomm's image processing unit. Overall, the results from the camera are pretty good from our testing. Video recording, on the other hand, is a little shoddy. You can capture 1080p video, and you do have electronic image stabilization. Color in the video is good, but the focus keeps jumping and you can't really lock in the focus. So that is something that Xiaomi has struggled with in the past, and it continues to struggle with it. If you're planning to buy a phone for video, this phone is definitely not it. But if you want to take the occasional video that you might need to take in your daily life, then it's fine. It's not a big deal. But if you're planning to use this for something that is primarily video, this device may not be the right device for that. Overall, Xiaomi has managed to put a good package in the Redmi Y2. A good design, looks extremely modern because it is sort of mimicking the Redmi Note 5 Pro. It also is mimicking the iPhone 10. So it sort of resembles that. It is extremely slippery, like I mentioned in my unboxing videos. If you're managing or if you're planning to use this phone, I will recommend again that you use it in a case. So to conclude, the Redmi Y2 at a price of $999 offers the dual camera capability at the back and some of the new features that they've added to the user interface. But interestingly enough, Xiaomi's own Redmi Note 5 is also available for a price of $9999, and it is available without waiting in flash sales or without waiting for any kind of availability issues. The 3GB plus 32GB variant available in 4 colors, and it does have a full HD display or a full HD plus display because it does have the 18:9 aspect ratio, and you also get the same Snapdragon 625 chipset, same specification of RAM and storage, and also the same feature set. The only thing missing is the dual camera at the back. But then again, if the device does get MIUI 10 in the future, the AI camera capability will allow you to get portrait mode with the single camera. They even demonstrated this during the launch. So honestly, in terms of a better device, the Redmi Note 5 is a better device than the Xiaomi Redmi Y2. And of course, there are other devices from companies like Honor that you may want to consider. So don't jump on the Y2 ship yet. Xiaomi may revise the price to reduce it by a couple of thousand rupees. If it does not, then you should choose the Redmi Note 5 over the Y2 because of generally a better spec set, and the dual camera does not really make that much of a difference on the back, according to me. If you like this video, guys, don't forget to smash that like button, hit that subscribe button, and the bell notification icon to get notified each time iGyaan uploads a new video. This has been Bharat Nagpal. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you in the next one.